Good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good. Hello, John. Thank you so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. So today, today we're going to be talking about the your short film Be Nice, that you are the writer, director, and as well you produced it, correct?
Correct. Yes. Very daunting, scary.
I wanted to start off the bat. What inspired you to make this short film? Has so many interesting, I would say, things that you can follow up with a full length film or a series. What inspired you to bring this short film to fruition?
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Funny enough, George Costanza from Seinfeld was the main genesis of the idea because in a lot of the episodes, he gets stressed out when people are acting very rude to him and he gets upset and he goes, we're living in a society here. We're supposed to be kind to one another. So I figured, what if there's some sort of an entity enforcing that social contract where we have to be nice to each other, right? Uh, uh, so, so imagine like you're going out to society and you're going to the supermarket, and nobody's gonna be rude to you. You're like, "Hello, how are you?" No, how are you? But there's no crime, there's no nothing, but you're living in fear and some monster is gonna get you unless you're nice to them. So that's one side of it, and the other side is when does the victim become the bully, right? So in the short, the victim not necessarily the bully, as it turns out. So I love those two themes altogether. But hidden those themes hidden within a very simple short where it's two kids fighting over candy and a monster under the bed.
That the thing is that the reason why I come up with the question is because it's such an interesting fact. There in 7 minutes you provided so much information that you can either just take it in and accept the short film for 7 minutes, or you can sit down and do a theory board um behind you and start panning out why did this happen, or why is this going on, why is the father asking this to his son, um how does the father know everything. It's so many things that you can dive into the short film. And what type of where did the inspiration come for the entity? Because you have a lot of inspiration behind the entity as a mixing of very popular other popular creatures that we've seen throughout cinema. But where did the inspiration come to, like, besides making it know that people like us can be like, oh, I can see this on these other famous characters that in the horror genre. But how do you got to have all that inspiration and make it unique for the audience?
I love that question. Actually, one of my favorite questions. So, okay, the references that kind of came together like a Voltron and kind of built this one is first of all, the Twilight Zone, the movie. There was a segment called "It's a Good Life" where everybody in town is afraid of this little kid for some reason, and it's a very colorful movie. Which our cinematographer Caitlin Brown kind of through her eyes, we were able to be very kind of colorful and lots of great, fantastic angles. And then also the movie it and the miniseries it showed me a lot how kids can be stressed out and funny and the monsters are involved and it's kind of okay to scare them and whatnot. And then a poltergeist was probably one of the bigger ones as well, where there's a monster under the bed and you're in a room alone and the kid's isolated in trouble. And Beetlejuice and Freddy Krueger are the two ones that they mess with their meal before they eat it. Like the monster has a personality, and it's also very colorful, right? So with Freddy Krueger, it's red and green, and then with Beetlejuice, it's like a faded black and white. So when you start seeing those colors, you're like, oh no, we're in trouble. And I've always loved that thing where the monster's been inside the room with you the entire time, and you have not noticed at all, right? Until it's time for you to notice. So those are the ones that kind of influenced Be Nice, right? But we created our own thing. So essentially, we created a monster that you can't kill because there's always somebody that's a jerk or rude to you somewhere. So it works in any time period and any genre. So going back to what you were saying, where if I want to expand it, if I have any other ideas, absolutely, because I love things like vampires, or zombies, werewolves, where they have rules, right? So this one, it works based off of a rule system. Whoever is in charge of this monster creates these rules that the town society has to follow or else, right? So that's a scary theme, but you kind of hide it under, like, again, like a very simple, quick 7 minute short where I love the shift changes really quickly, like the gags, just to kind of like keep everybody entertained as it's going through.
I gotta say that it's just amazing because while I was watching it, but while I was watching the short film, and I did it correctly. I watched it at midnight when there was total darkness, about to go to sleep. So I went ahead and enjoyed it. And I gotta say that it's mesmerizing, the colors and how the camera works through the room, and the how amazing is the main, I don't remember the name of the main kid, the one that summons the creature, but
Marcus.
Marcus. Marcus only has like a couple of lines, but those lines are so powerful, you know, and just seeing how everything works out. Now, Eric, did you find any type of challenges through the filming process, being the fact that you are filming, for what I see, in just a simple room, because you don't get out of the room at all?
Correct. And we ran into a few challenges with that, but because of the fact where there's nobody really to run the flagpole to, and it's just kind of me as the writer, director, producer, I can get everybody involved. So I'll bring the cinematographer, everybody on set, even if they're the PA, it doesn't matter. If we run into a certain problem, it becomes an opportunity to make it better, right? So we ran into a lot of problems in the fact that maybe the room is too small to try this in, to try that in, or the shadows aren't working this way, so we're going to try it a different way, right? So it becomes fun because what I had initially imagined what it was going to be, and what it ended up being is completely different. And what it ended up being is 10 times better because it's a collaborative thing with like a bunch of people working towards one goal as opposed to just me doing it alone. So I write it a certain way. We get to set, and then I look at these actors and I'm like, wow, I'm going to adjust my writing around them, right? Jeremiah, Cooper, and Danny, the three actors that are in there, I even on set while we're directing, while we're filming them, I'm looking at them. I go, okay, 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 just do it the exact way you were doing it while we're not filming you. So basically, I'm letting them bring their personality into it a lot more, and I'm adjusting to them because it's a lot more natural and it comes across on screen. I'm a very firm believer that 90% of directing is just good casting, right? And that's what we did here. Three incredibly super talented people that kind of take your writing and run with it, and you can adjust to them. So all the problems end up being very fun, positive outcomes that affect it in a much much better way. It's so happy coincidences.
Okay, that's amazing and great. Eric, I wanted to ask, being the fact that there is the Terrifier series. It started as a short film. Now it's a very successful franchise due to how low how low budget is the film, and people just love how it is. Is be did Do you think that Be Nice, if you get the chance to make it a full length film, do you think that you can be able to do the same thing that you did on your short for seven on this 7 minute short, make it in a full length film with a I would say, I don't want to say like a low budget or decent budget, but with a responsible good budget, because you used a lot of, like, I imagine there are a lot of like techniques to not leeway that much on CGI. And do you think that you would have a chance if somebody would give you a chance? Let's say, for instance, myself would produce your film. Do you think that you can make a full length film on a small budget and capture the minds of everybody, like you have captured at least my interest in this creature and this story, from 7 minutes to make it, I don't know, an hour and a half film?
Absolutely, and that was the initial inception of the idea as well. So not just for a short, I took the theme and the idea of the monster and kind of crushed it down into a short. But I have many versions, many ideas as well of this, the expanded version, the full version. So this is like a microcosm of what I have. And the ideas kind of range as well. So there's like cults that are worshiping the monster and trying to steal the way to, control it and whatnot. So, and I really enjoy, especially with Caitlin Brown, our cinematographer, it makes it much easier for me because I realize that the talents that they have, like for example, Caitlin's talents are big time into action and underwater, right?
Okay.
So you think you might not need that for a short set in one room, right? But like you were saying, it's very dynamic because her background is in action. So when we're in that room, she knows we can shoot it from this angle, that angle from over there, this kind of movement, that kind of movement. So for not spending a lot, we're getting incredible value because the people are incredibly talented, and we're just kind of like the way my brain works is I work very good with parameters, right? Like if you give me parameters, I will bust out a script of like a full quality, very good version in less than a week, like from inception to the final draft, like very, very quickly, because I get super focused. If I get excited about something, I'm in, then we're good to go, right? So that's how it works. And so a lot of the times I will write around the location, right? So I had the idea, then we found the location. I go, okay, so it'll be like this, like this, like this. Done. Everything falls into place. I love the way that kind of like it just everything kind of works out that way. So for example, our next one, which is we're doing something kind of Inception, if it was a fantasy horror, sorry, fantasy action horror, I would not have been able to think of that if I didn't know that Caitlin can do action. So now I know, okay, I'm confident. I was working towards action. We'll just do it full on the next one, right? So it's a very collaborative environment where so you want to write it as if it was going to be a full-on feature and multiple different types of feature, and then crush it down into a short film as a proof of concept. So cute.
Yeah, my son just appeared out of the blue.
Love it. So cute.
Now, no, hombre, papi. Mira, vete con mamá. Go with mom. It's not the first time that he makes an appearance.
That's awesome. I love it. No, that's fantastic. That's a good bond. That's fantastic. That speaks volumes, actually. That's great.
No, yeah. The thing is that my wife is here, but I left the office door open, so he came
No,
here
that's good. No,
quickly.
that's actually very, very good. So my background is psychology. I have honors in psychology for undergrad.
Okay.
So seeing that, it's like it's I love it. It's makes me very. That actually made my day. Like that's a very cool thing. So thank you for that.
No, no. In other interviews, I think that in some of them you can see like his forehead right here in the corner.
Right, right,
And sometimes I'm like, I try to maintain focus, but
right,
he
right.
starts grabbing the microphone and my focus goes away.
I love it.
Eric, being the you've mentioned so many things that this entity, there's like a bigger, broader universe, or story behind the entity. But you did mention that you are already working on another project. Is there any chance that we might see probably another short film or a I know there's a term called, but there is like a mid-size type of filming that it's like 30 minutes or 25 minutes. It does not reach the full length, but is there any chance that we might see something more broader in regards to touching up on the story of the entity from Be Nice?
Absolutely. And it's funny because I actually was kicking around the idea of so the goal is to get bigger and bigger with each project we do, right? So we started with Be Nice, and I was kicking around the idea of every other project going back to Be Nice and kind of expanding on it a little bit, right? So we do Be Nice. The next one is called Brainworm. So we do Brainworm. And then maybe not necessarily sequel, but a spiritual sequel to Be Nice, expanding on the lore a little bit, right? Or maybe it takes place in like a town, a lot more people. And then we do another short or something else, right? And then come back. And then so back and forth, back and forth. And then basically every idea that I had that we go through, it's an expanded idea that's meant for the big screen and kind of lore behind it and for a feature film, but brought down to a short size. So yeah, I definitely behind the scenes, even right now, there's talks to expand on Be Nice and kind of the whole goal of these festivals is to have other people's eyes get on it so that there's interest and you can kind of wheel and deal behind the scenes. So that is definitely the goal, and it's actually a very exciting part, especially my first time going through it. So it's just funny because I still haven't separated myself from the audience. So certain times I'll kind of be watching Be Nice or like all the success it's having. I'm like, huh, that's kind of cool. And they're like, yeah, good for you. I'm like, no, that's, oh, wait, that is right. Oh, yeah, good for us. Cool, cool, cool. I forget that I'm a part of it, right? Because it's so new to me, but it's exciting. So I appreciate that.
No, I just gotta say, before reaching to my final question, for me, those 7 minutes were just mesmerizing. At least for me, that I am a fan of the horror genre. It's not like I know that there's other people that are bigger fans than myself, but I like to dive in sometimes. Sit down, watch a horror film, or or look for these indie horror films just to see the ideas of what a director has or a writer, just to see what their mind is set into in the story. But seeing Be Nice, and the first thing that popped out of my head is like, I was like, this could be either a series or a film or a full length film. And it could be a couple of films because you can mix and match. Let it be the first one be the introduction of the entity, or the story that you presented it, that he already exists with Marcus, and the family, and then go with the prequel. There's so many things that you can dive into with Be Nice. And just one of my favorite scenes is, there's a scene that the bully is opening up the sleeping bag, and then you have the hands crawling, and
Mhm.
then out of the blue you see the entity behind him. I was like, wow, this blew my mind. Not giving that much details, but something does happen after that. But Be Nice was such an amazing 7 minute experience that I know that somebody will look at it and be like, yes, I think that we can do something with this. Now, going to my final question for you today, if you could give me an explanation in one word for Be Nice, what would it be?
Polite.
I like it. I love it. No, I love it. Yeah.
A threatening nice.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love it. Eric, thank you very much for giving us the time to talk about Be Nice. I hope that we can sit down once again and talk about any future project. Or if we get to see a full-length film, I don't know. but
Absolutely.
but thank you very much for giving us the time to talk about Be Nice and the short film.
Well, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and your kind words and everything. Like I'm getting it's rare that I'm getting feedback, so and it's starting now. So I really appreciate this very much. So this is I will always remember this. Thank you so much, Sean. I really appreciate it.
No, no, thank you, Eric. Bye bye.